The issue here is that how did they get to convince the United States president of this falsehood? And a lot of people that I've seen online intersecting and analyzing it, they are alleging racism on the part of Donald Trump, which I just disagree with. Okay, I must say that I'm a big fan of President Donald John Trump, but on this particular issue, I think he is sadly misinformed on this. And the sad part of having such strong foreign policy positions based on false information is that it affects people's lives, people's livelihood, but based on a falsehood. And so for me is that we need to understand, how did this happen? And I've been talking to friends in my own personal capacity and in my own circles that a lot of South Africans don't understand how strong the AfriForum, I'm not going to explain who the AfriForum is for the purpose of this video, how strong their lobby effort is in the West, in Western capitals, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, the United States. They have a persistent and strong lobby effort. They are spending millions of dollars each year lobbying lawmakers, lobbying the executive. They've been on this lobbying effort for years and years. A lot of people are aware of AfriForum leader or spokesperson being interviewed by Tal Carlson on Fox News in 2018, but that was not just even the beginning of their lobby effort. That was one of the culmination of their efforts to be able to even get to the point of being interviewed in the biggest cable show in the United States of America in terms of viewership. How did they able to do that? They've been persistent in lobbying the West on this issue. And the challenge that we see, especially with regards to South African government, is that outside of their official diplomatic efforts, they do not have a clear strategic lobby effort to counter the lies of the AfriForum. Because, ladies and gentlemen, lobbying and diplomacy are two different things. Yes, lobbying and diplomacy are cousins in terms of the aims and the ends that they aim to achieve. But lobbying and diplomacy are two separate things. And lobbying in particular tends to have a long view approach as opposed to diplomatic efforts, which diplomats change the government and all of that. But lobbying is often based on relationships that are built over years and cultivated and a clear effort of persuading people on a particular view. And that is what AfriForum has been able to achieve in this past, let's just say 15 years, where you can even see in terms of the responses of the South African government on their official pages that they are over-relying on diplomacy, and they don't have people who have relationships at the lobby level who can be able to actually inquire. Forget about responding to the lies. You first need to understand what the other person, because you need to have someone who has Donald Trump's ear first. Or if they don't have Donald Trump's ear, they have to have Donald Trump's advisors' ears. And if they don't, if they are not able to talk to Donald Trump's advisors, at the very least they need to be able to be talking to lawmakers. And I'm not talking here about diplomats and diplomacy. I'm talking about people who meet with lawmakers and go and have drinks with them and have coffee and have a braai with them. And people that they call these people Because this is where people's minds get changed at the friendship level. Even though it's actually it's known that it's obviously it's you are a foreign agent. Yes, obviously you have to register as a foreign agent if you are a lobby. But it's a very different situation than these official channels. I don't even think right now that South Africa has proper back channels for the United States of America. And you have people here who are busy inflaming the situation, making some of the most incendiary comments and some of the most offensive comments, which are not going to help us in this situation. And South Africa, let me tell you something. Your insults, your pejoratives, your colonial, whatever, neo-colonialism and all of that stuff is not going to fix this relationship. The only thing that is going to fix this relationship is proper lobbying. Lobbying against the lies of a forum is going to require effort. It's going to require a strategy. It's going to require intentionality. And it's going to require wisdom. And it's going to require both official and informal channels. It's going to require both public sector and non-governmental players. Because as far as I'm aware, the AfriForum is supposedly called NGO. Well, they call themselves a civil rights group, which we all know they're not a civil rights group, but that's story for another day. But how did this small group end up having so much influence in all these Western governments, more than a government that has a budget that is probably, I don't know, 100 times more? Come on, guys, come on. Our government needs to be more serious. But I also just think that African governments in general, not just South Africa, we need to look at how the rest of the world employs lobbying. Because at the lobby level, that's where you are able to talk with people and humanize and put a human face to the issues that affect you. In terms of this is what's happening. You invite the people to your country to see what is going on without any short-term, you need to make up your mind now sort of expectation, but of saying just come and see for yourself in a very relaxed, welcoming environment. That is what lobbying is. And you can have state senators, state legislatures, and I'm talking about people at the state level, local governments in major U.S. cities like New York City and Los Angeles, maybe Houston, Miami, and San Francisco, and all of those places. Lobbying happens at that level, and senators and governors, these state houses. That there is a lot of work that needs to be done. Not insults, not name calling. You are not going to, you can be right and not win. We all know that. You can be right on an issue and still lose. So the most important thing here, it's not about being right. It's not about just being right. It's also about, are you actually able to get the outcomes that you need? And South Africa, I'm asking you the question, are we going to get the outcomes that we need by just insulting people who stop funding and who are, okay, we're going to remove you from the AGOA trade deal or whatever threats that there is? Are you going to win by insulting people? Or are you going to win by putting a better effort in lobbying? Make up your own mind.